Hello and welcome to the New Times Roundtable. I am Moise Bahati. This has been a series of discussions on the DR Congo crisis, which escalated in late January. We have been discussing what are the implications of this conflict, but also how to end the conflict and bring peace and lasting peace in Eastern DRC, but also in the greater Great Lakes region. Today's guest is Dr. Alphonse Murefu, the principal of the University of Rwanda's College of Arts and Social Sciences, and an international law expert. Welcome once again, Dr. Alphonse Murefu. The conflict in Eastern DR Congo has been going on for so many years, for 3 decades now. But how do you analyze it, and what do you think should be done in the current crisis to calm the tensions, but also to reach lasting peace?
It's true. The conflict has been going on for many years, and I think the reason the conflict has been going on is that one of the key causes of the conflict has not been taken care of, and probably the solution could be on trying to understand what are the real causes, why has it failed. The past efforts to end the conflicts have failed to result into lasting peace, so that at least they can provide a proper solution to it. Mm-hmm. I think, and I don't think this is not going ahead of the conversation, but I think the reason the conflicts in Eastern DRC have failed to stop is not largely because of not understanding what the problem is or what are supposed to be solutions. But I see the failure in not being able to implement those proposed solutions, because there have been a series of negotiations which have given a list of recommendations. And I think if those recommendations had been faithfully implemented, we would be having peace in Eastern DRC.
Mm-hmm. We will come back to the different initiatives and peace frameworks that have been initiated since the early 2000s. But in the current crisis, which escalated when the M23 AFC forces took control of Goma in late January, a lot of initiatives have also been initiated. We can say the EAC initiative, the EAC SADC summits of the heads of state and government, and even the Rwanda process. Now we have Qatar in the picture. What do you make of these different peace efforts that are being implemented, that are being initiated to calm the tensions?
Well, as long as the conflict is ongoing, there is going to be efforts to end the conflict, because conflict, an armed conflict in particular, because there are different sorts of conflicts that happen in human interactions. Armed conflicts are the worst catastrophe to happen to human beings. So as long as there is an ongoing armed conflict, efforts will be made to resolve those conflicts. And it could be not a waste of time if different actors are attempting to resolve the conflict. So as long as the conflict is still ongoing, efforts will still be made to end the conflict. Mm-hmm. To what extent those efforts will succeed is another thing. But certainly, as long as there is a conflict, because conflicts cause damages, and nobody would want to see the consequences of conflicts continuing to increase.
One of the ways that different countries and organizations have dealt with the crisis in Eastern DRC is by sanctions, imposing sanctions on the actors and alleged actors. One such measure was the imposition of sanctions on M23 leaders in February by the rather in March by the European Union on M23, right at a few days or even one day before the peace talks were organized in one day before the peace talks in Rwanda was supposed to take place. How should the international community deal with this problem? Because at one point it's a problem that affects the region, but in the source of it, you might want to say that it's actually a Congolese problem. How should the international community and different actors from the international communities and powerful countries, if you like, deal with this problem?
I think those that are imposing sanctions are simply wanting to show that there is something they are trying to do. Because I don't think that imposing sanctions on few individuals in M23 will end the conflict. I think people needed to remember that in 2013, M23 was completely defeated, you could say. But that did not stop it from coming back in this situation we are in today. So it would be difficult to assume that by sanctioning M23 will result to resolving the conflict. It could prolong maybe the conflict, but it might not result in resolving the conflict because this group has some, we could say, legitimate claims it is advancing. And not until those claims are addressed, then probably you can try to undermine it from time to time, but I think they will still need to look into resolving the issues that are behind why there is M23.
Let's delve into these grievances of the M23. That's, as you noted earlier, that's why the conflict has been recurring for so many times. One analyst actually said it is now recurring for the 5th time since, if you count since the late 1990s. What are the real grievances of the M23, and why have they? Let's now come back to the different peace efforts that have been initiated throughout the years. Why have all these initiatives failed, and why do these grievances still persist? What's ignored in the process?
No, I think you don't need to look far. If you went into the previous agreements that have been signed between DRC and armed groups, in particular, if you look at CNDP, the agreement they signed in Goma, but if you could also extend it to look at the agreement that was signed between DRC and Rwanda in Pretoria, and many other agreements that have been negotiated to resolve the conflict in Eastern DRC, you can see what are the issues. For the case of Rwanda, Rwanda has had one unresolved security concern, which is FDLR. For the M23, which is a result of the failed implementation of agreement between DRC and CNDP, is that the Congolese Tutsi community has been persecuted, and thousands of their family members have lived in refugee camps for for so many years, for over 25 years. So those are real human life concerns that needs to be addressed. So as long as those issues are not resolved, then you cannot expect it to have a peaceful Eastern DRC, because they are not going to give up their ancestral land to FDLR. And now...
Which the FDLR, which is a foreign force that is linked to the genocide in Rwanda.
Exactly.
The genocide against the Tutsi. Yeah.
Which is occupying the space to use it to advance its attacks to Rwanda. So it is not that it is even claiming to be interested to settle there. It is using it as a space that would help it to regroup and cause security threats to a neighboring country. So that's actually where and maybe knowingly or unknowingly make it easy for people to link M23 to Rwanda, is that the FDLR, which is a security threat to Rwanda, is also a cause of a problem to M23. So by that connection, it becomes easy to say Rwanda is linked to M23 because they have one major concern. For different reasons, M23 is interested in having this armed group stop targeting their communities, and Rwanda is interested in seeing this genocidal group disarmed so that it stops being a security threat to Rwanda. So, but that is only making sense as far as M23 is concerned, the way it was when it was starting this conflict recently, and maybe in 2012, 2013. And probably those were the same demands of CNDP. But when it comes to today, as more opposition groups and individuals are joining M23, then the political demands also are increasing. Then we talk about issues of governance, and you can't really know now what are the demands are at the moment. The way they were a year ago might have changed.
Yeah, with the number of actors
exactly. Because when M23 was still M23, you could say, okay, we deal with the FDLR, we deal with the issue of persecution of Tutsi Congolese communities, resettle them, return them. We maybe try to demobilize and reintegrate some of M23. Then you would hope that their demands would be taken care of. But now with this alliance that has joined M23 and other actors that are in opposition of the current government in DRC, the list of demands is increasing.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that the alliance, the Congo River Alliance, or AFC, was created in December 2023, and now the M23 is part of this alliance, which has gained a lot of support in recent years, right after the fall of Goma and Bukavu. So we have had different militias, different Congolese politicians, including even the former presidential candidate Rex Kazadi, who said he was in support of this rebel alliance. So, what do you make of the increase in support to the M23 when Kinshasa was actually saying we have been attacked by Rwanda?
Well, I think to say it is Rwanda that is attacking is an easy claim to make, because since the claims of M23 stems from not implementing the agreement that was signed between DRC and CNDP, and also because if you followed the elections that brought in power Tshisekedi, you will realize that those who had popular support, in particular Martin Fayulu, campaigned on the slogan of being anti-Rwanda. So I think since Tshisekedi appeared like not having any political base, adopting that posture gave him the support of the people that were in the Fayulu camp. So there is a political domestic interest in Tshisekedi's decision to be anti-Rwanda. So by that extension, associating M23 with Rwanda has not only domestic benefits for him, but it also has international benefits for him, because it externalizes the conflict and attracts anti-Rwanda sentiments that are outside there to be on his side. So there is that as an incentive for him to describe the situation in that sense, which is not to say that he doesn't agree that this is a domestic issue that needs to be addressed.
Why then would the Congolese government, let's say Felix Tshisekedi in particular, not want to solve the problems? Because, as you said, Rwanda, there has been a long-standing anti-Rwanda feeling in Congo, especially among the Congolese political elite. And as you said, Rwanda might be an easy scapegoat for everything that's going wrong in Eastern DR Congo. But then, if this is not helping, why don't they sit down as Congolese and address these issues?
I think it would not be difficult to prove that conflict in the DRC is profitable. Profitable to Congolese politicians through not being able to account for their failures and on how they manage national resources, because when it comes to conflicts, then there comes unexplained expenditures. Two, there is also international cooperation, corruption, and international system of smugglers that take advantage of lack of law and order in some parts of DRC, if not the entire DRC. So those interests and those who benefit from that situation might be behind the reasons as to why DRC political elite is not interested in resolving the conflict. And two, I think it is also because I don't want to assume that the challenges in DRC are so huge that no politician that wants to be attempting to deal with the real issues of governance, issues of infrastructure development, issues of maintaining social cohesion among the Congolese communities. And because of maybe lack of interest to attempt to resolve those issues, makes it easier for them to remain in this perpetual conflict, as long as it does not remove them from power. So actually, by extension, we can say that is why M23 is a threat to DRC government, because it have national claims. But it has been comfortable living with over 120 armed groups. Those armed groups occupy certain territories, but they do not have national claims. So they have their local claims, and they play on each other's communities, and try to control resources for the benefit of their few leaders. So in that sense, you could say occupying a territory in DRC might not be a problem to DRC government. What is the problem to the DRC government is to make a national claim that threatens their legitimacy in Kinshasa.
That is, maybe you might say, demanding an end to corruption and bad governance, because apparently M23 has actually, the political leader of the AFC M23, Corneille Nangaa, the former electoral head of the National Commission of Elections, actually said we want Kinshasa to understand that ours are grievances about corruption and bad governance and lack of infrastructure, lack of water facilities, and everything in that regard. So you're saying why the reason why Congo does not want to M23 to understand M23 is not because they have occupied some land, but it's because they are demanding more accountability from Kinshasa. So, which takes me to the next question about the FDLR in particular. This armed group, which was founded by perpetrators of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, has been in Eastern DR Congo for so many years, for 3 decades now. And Rwanda has raised different security concerns related to this armed group. And Congo, if you can be clear enough, has denied any, has sort of ignored these concerns by Rwanda, despite FDLR being a threat to not just to Rwanda, but also Congolese communities, the Tutsi communities who suffer genocide and persecution. What interest does DRC have in maintaining the FDLR?
Because they can fight on their behalf. Because DRC, I think there is no strong armed group or armed force in DRC that is willing to put up a strong fight as FDLR. So FDLR is important to DRC because it can fight on their behalf if they need to fight. So I think that is a reason for them to keep them, because FDLR has a reason to be there, a reason of wanting to perpetuate their ideology, with the extension to attack Rwanda. So because of having that, and if they lose Eastern DRC, it means they are completely out of the reach to the Rwandan territory. So they will be there and ready to fight on behalf of DRC government. So that could be one of the reasons. Another thing is that the existence of corruption, before the killing of the former governor, there was I think an agreement in Rwanda to start neutralizing FDLR, and it is on record that this general who was the governor is the one who informed the FDLR leaders, and by the time they went to attack them, they had left the place where they were supposed to be attacked. So there are individual corrupt leaders in DRC who have interest in keeping this FDLR issue not resolved. But as I said, there is also international smuggling actors, those that are smuggling weapons, those that are smuggling minerals, that have interest in keeping Eastern DRC in this kind of situation. All these actors, through their influences, they can cause DRC from not taking proper action about FDLR. So I think it is naive on some actors to assume that Rwanda will at some point ignore the existence of FDLR, because FDLR is the main reason why the new government is what it is today, because it was created from the desire to end genocide ideology. And in one of the guiding principles in the Constitution, in Article 10, on the fundamental principles of the Constitution of the Republic of Rwanda, is to fight ideology and divisions. And FDLR is exactly that. So Rwanda will not ignore that, not because it is primarily a security threat, because it attacks Rwanda and causes physical destruction, but it also attacks Rwanda's essential values, one of which is unity.
Now, as we're coming to the end of our interview, Qatar has now become one of the mediators of the conflict, in addition to the EAC SADC initiative that has harmonized the EAC or Nairobi process and the Rwanda process. I also understand that the church leaders in Congo are also mediating the conflict. They are looking for ways to reach peace. Even with the increase of now political actors, even Congolese political opposition actors, including the former president, who also now says the Congolese community needs to sit down and address these issues. So these different peace initiatives, how do they reach the final conclusion of the conflict? How do they reach lasting peace? How do they harmonize these efforts, internal Congolese efforts led by the churches and faith organizations, and the EAC SADC initiative, but also the Qatar mediation? How do these reach the conclusion of the conflict, or at least sustainable, lasting peace?
You could say it is difficult, but as I said from the beginning, as long as there is an ongoing conflict, different actors will attempt to resolve the conflict. Because when there is an armed conflict, there are generally three things that can happen. One is one party to the conflict winning, so by victory. Two is by peace agreement. And three is a frozen conflict, where, for example, as the situation is now, you could see that, for example, M23 may consolidate the area that it has, make sure that there is no threat to it and the territory it occupies, and then the DRC may stop attacking them and focus on the areas that are not under the attack by M23. And then the situation can go on for some years. That is a form of a frozen conflict. The conflict has not ended, but it is not also
there's no hostility,
ongoing hostilities. Another thing is, as I said, is to have peace negotiations, and peace negotiations that results in a peace agreement is that they will come from all actors that are of goodwill. So at some point, one forum might be seen to be successful than others, and maybe others will join that one forum. Like we had the attempts from the ESC and the attempts from SADC, and at some point the two were put together. So probably at some point all these forums will be put together to come up with one solution that resolves the conflict. But as I said, the issue has never been lack of agreements. The issue is on implementation. And you could say that DRC is either unwilling or unable to implement whatever they have agreed. Otherwise, I don't see why they have kept on reneging on the agreements after agreements and after agreements.
Well, this is an evolving conflict and crisis, and it also has been there for so many years. But thank you for making your effort to analyze it and contributing to the conversation that should lead to the resolution of the conflict and greater understanding of what the pertinent issues. So it was a pleasure hosting you, Dr. Alphonse Murefu, the principal of the University of Rwanda's College of Arts and Social Sciences. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching today's discussion on the DR Congo crisis. We have a lot more discussions on the same crisis available on the New Times YouTube channel. Please visit it, subscribe, and like.